Hey everybody, as I promised, another video. This one is about, I want to talk about America's reputation in the world for manufacturing, or just Americans in general, in their ability to make things and put things together. This is my second time trying to do this video. The first time I just got my brain, I got totally off track, and at one point I was just staring off into space for 3 seconds. So anyway, gonna try again, gonna do over. Well, what happened was, and the reason I wanted to talk about this topic is I was on YouTube, and I think it was a BuzzFeed video about, it was something about 10 things about big brands or something you didn't know, and there was something about Ikea, and I forget even what the thing was about Ikea, but somebody in the comments, they said the only person who would have trouble putting together Ikea furniture is either American or a retard. Well, that really got my nerves, and I felt like, blasting them about, do you drive an American car? Do you this? Do you that? And I realized that it's really just a waste of energy. Nobody ever convinced anybody of anything, arguing with them on the internet. Plus, I'm sure they're busy down in their parents' basement, jerking off or whatever they're doing. But anyway, I'm not going to waste my time arguing with this person. And but I just felt like I couldn't let that go. I mean, to say, first of all, the American part, of course. But using retard as insult and all that, it's just, come on, grow up. So I put, I just said, well, that was insulting. And then I got a reply. I thought it'd be the same person going to start and try to flame me, but it was actually somebody else who said, well, no, it's not insulting. It's the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts. Okay, not even going to make a comment there. I'm just going to make my own video, and I'm just going to get off my chest what I want to say. But I did start thinking about, America. I grew up. Keep in mind, I'm 48. I know I don't look it, do I? I look awesome. But anyway, I'm 48. So, and I remember in the 70s, America was still fairly well known for manufacturing. But just, man, things really went down the toilet, didn't they? And I don't know if it's lack of education in machinist arts, or in, manufacturing, or lack of DECA, vocational, whatever, those classes and stuff in school, or what the deal is. But we really lost our foothold in manufacturing in the United States. I mean, when people think we can't even put together a piece of Ikea furniture, it's just mind-boggling to me that we've come to that point where that is our reputation. And how did we get here? And so, that's what I was thinking about. What has changed? And can blame unions. There's a part of me where I feel like, the unions did good work. This will piss people off. People are very pro-union. But growing up in Michigan, I saw a lot of union stuff and had a lot of friends whose parents worked for the auto manufacturers. And how they'd be on strike and that kind of stuff, or for more wages and all that kind of stuff. And I think the unions did a lot of good for us. They were needed at some points, but then it came a point where it was too much of a burden on the company. Because I remember even when I was in high school, it was about 1980 or so. Maybe it was 80 or 81. Anyway, there was this kid, and he was always falling asleep in class. My first period class was art, and he was always falling asleep, and I'm thinking, oh, he's a pothead, he's a druggie, he's always hungover or whatever. But he was just always so sleepy in class, and the teacher would kind of just sort of let him. And of course, being into art, I've kind of found that kind of insulting. like art isn't considered important. If this was math class, the teacher would be making sure he was awake. But I didn't realize till later, I found out he wasn't a slacker and he wasn't a druggie. He was a high schooler and had been up all night working the night shift at the jam plant. So he was the exact opposite of being a slacker, and he was just exhausted. And here I was thinking he was hungover or whatever. So it just shows you don't judge. But I do remember, he was making $25 an hour. I mean, $25 an hour now would just be mind blowing. I'd be thrilled to make $25 an hour. But this kid, high school kid, assembly line, making it in 1981 or so. So I mean, just look at that. So of course our cars got expensive, and that's kind of crazy. I mean, glad for him. I can see why he was doing it, even though it was hard. So he was actually a really smart guy. He strategically put his easy class first thing in the morning so he could sleep. So, but anyway, and I also thought back to the toys we used to play with, like in the 70s. And I'm 48. I know, as I said, I don't look it. But anyway, but in the 70s we had toys like erector sets, which were these metal, like little metal girders, and you had screws and nuts and bolts and stuff, and you put it together. And if you screwed up and you left it outside and it got a little wet or damp or whatever, in the dew and the grass, and then you ended up getting it rusty, well, you still played with it. It wasn't like, oh, it's rusty, throw it away, you're going to die. There was a lot more of, you could play with dangerous stuff. And my older brother had a tool set that had, real tools. And so kids learned how to use that stuff early on. Now everything's padded and fluffy, and nobody can get hurt, and nobody can take a chance. And I'm a little guilty of that too as a mom. Real protective about stuff my kids play with. But even when my son got a chemistry set and there was a 9-volt battery in there, even I was shocked at all the warnings and stuff about this 9-volt battery. It's like, oh, please, and the chemicals that are in his chemistry set, how you can't just flush it down the toilet and all. And I do take that as serious, but we're just so frightened all the time. We're so scared, and I don't know if that's where all this has come from. Does that come from lawsuits? Is it just a general paranoia? I mean, we love our kids. Did it get worse in the 80s? It seemed like a lot more people were coddled and protected in the 80s. But anyway, I've just been trying to think, what has happened? How did this shift happen? Because the United States used to be so very well respected for manufacturing. So anyway, give me your thoughts on that. I don't know. I'm just sort of nonplussed. We're just, our reputation in the world is that we are stupid and fat, and so. But let me know your comments on it. Talk to you later.